What's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest episode of the Debate Mates. I'm Matthew Swanberg, and next to me is Debate Mates legend Nathan Poplin. Just legend in all aspects of life, really. Nathaniel Poplin.
Thank you so much. You as well, my friend.
And today, he and I are here to debate the NBA All-Star reserves. We're making our pick because the starters were just released last Thursday. Mm-hmm. Some controversy, especially in the East. Actually, in both conferences in the front court, I'd say. With Zion slipping in there in the West.
Yeah, that was shocking and not shocking at the same time.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, I get it, but it was like,
and then does he deserve to be Embiid falling off in the East?
Yeah, it's crazy. The leader in points for how long has he been the leader in points now? Yeah, got locked. I was telling him I thought it was going to be Tatum just surely out of the names in the bunch, but yeah, I was shocked that Embiid didn't make it. I mean, Jokic made it, and Embiid also probably deserved to be a starter.
And so, will Embiid be on our reserves list, though? I guess you're going to have to watch and find out.
Yeah, I can't spoil that.
But before we get into that, make sure you like, comment any ideas you have for future videos, any basketball-related questions you want these two experts to answer on the Debate Mates. Follow us on Instagram. I don't remember if I said that already or not. And make sure you subscribe.
Say it again.
Follow us on the Debate Mates.
Follow us on the Debate Mates. Follow us on the Debate Mates. Follow us on the Debate Mates.
So without further ado, we're going to start in the West because we have a little bit less parity in who we've chosen as our Western reserves. Just real quick for the viewers, if you don't know, the West, or not the West, but all All-Star reserves are picked just like the starters are, in that there's two backcourts, have to be two backcourt players, have to be two front court or three front court players, and then you get two wild cards. These are selected by the coaches, meaning they are probably selected by the lowest ranking assistant coach because the head coach doesn't have time for this. So, like I said, we're going to start in the West. Do you want to go with our locks first, and then we can debate the other guys?
I would love to go with our locks first. So I think one lock has to be Shai.
Yeah,
absolutely. What a menace! Freaking 30.9 points. And the Thunder have looked really good at points this season. So along with their 30,000 draft picks in the future, like we say all the time,
and Chet, who's basically a draft pick.
Chet, man, and they got some really good pieces. Jalen Williams is really not one. Jalen Williams, number 8, not 34, I believe. There's two of them. They
drafted 34 is Kenrich Williams. If I'm not mistaken.
Wait, is it Kenrich? There's another Jalen Williams. I digress, but yeah, he's looked like an absolute fiend, and I think I remember seeing him coming out, thought like this dude is going to be special. But I did question if he could maybe be the guy.
Yeah.
And I think he's proven to all of us, and me especially, that yes, he can be that guy very much, and he deserves to have his first All-Star appearance this year as a reserve.
I almost would have given him the nod over Curry. I would have been a little tempted, just because he has proven that not only is he an All-Star caliber player, he's going to be knocking at the door for first team All-NBA at the end of this season, I really think. And he's going to be an MVP candidate for the next couple of years, especially when the Thunder start getting more competitive as like Chet gets healthy and starts to come into his own. Giddey gets better. Dort starts to get better. They're 8-0 when Aaron Wiggins starts. So if they start him next season, I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander might be a lock for MVP because they'll be on pace to go 82-0 for a chip
with those odds.
But yeah, they just have such a good mix of talent, and they've really let Shai pop. They're just letting him do his thing. Like you said, 30.9. Still hasn't fallen off from that above 30 club. All season long he's been there. 4.8 rebounds, 5.6 assists. He's doing it on defense with almost 2 steals and over a block. He's one of the best shot blocking guards in the league right now. And you can just see it in his length. He's physically gifted to be a good defender.
Good size, good length all around.
63% true shooting, which basically measures, for those of you that don't know, anytime the ball leaves your hands and is headed towards the basket. It takes all those shots into consideration with different values. And 63% there. Thunder are relevant. They might make a play-in game.
It's possible. They're knocking on the door at that 11th seed right now.
Yeah.
They're knocking, at the door, and they very much have the talent even right now, I think, to at least make a play-in.
He is a special talent.
Easy. So, yeah, that's a lock. I think every true NBA fan would agree. Easiest lock in this Western Conference right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, another lock is Ja Morant.
Yep.
I think we can agree on that. Ja Morant.
I don't want to.
Yes, but you can't deny these second seed Grizzlies and the talent, the generational talent that Ja Morant is. So, I mean, what can you say about this guy? He's explosive. He's very, very, very good around the rim.
He absolutely ended one of my Maryland guys, Jalen Smith, a while ago.
Oh yeah, that's
huge
correct.
Poster dunk. Yep.
I mean, my man will do that to anybody that's in that paint.
Yeah, what did he say on Twitter? He said, "Jump with me if you want to go viral."
And I love that confidence. You're not a fan as much
I
of that
take it more as
confidence.
cockiness.
But I think when it comes to athletes, sometimes that cockiness is what takes you to the next level.
Yep.
What needs to be. I mean, just look at Kobe Bryant and his airness himself.
Difference is they won stuff.
That's true.
Ja Morant's one
But
of the most
don't skip
player.
out. Hey, Ja Morant, that's a good Grizzlies team. Don't say it's not possible in the future. They're just getting started. They're going to be a problem for a really long time. But yeah, Ja Morant's a special player, and he deserves to be at least a reserve. Absolutely.
Ja Morant's a super special player. He's one of the better players in the league right now. I feel bad for him, and in the similar regard, I feel bad for Shea because one of those Western Conference All-Star starting spots is not going to be given up probably for about a decade, assuming Luka stays in Dallas.
So they're going to be fighting at it every single year.
So they're going to be fighting at it every single year. We might see some CJ McCollum type stuff here happen where you're really deserving a couple years in a row, but you're in the West, man.
Yeah. And you're in the West. There's too much competition and not enough room.
But this year, they've put themselves above the competition. I'm assuming they're going to continue to do that because they're great young players. Jumping from him to another guy I have a lock, I'm assuming you have him as a lock, is, let me not mince words, the real most improved player this year. Shea has improved a lot, but this guy has improved from basically being a nobody to an all-star.
Is it the marksman?
It's Lauri Markkanen.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, the Jazz are still 500.
And yeah, the Jazz are still 500. They fell off like I think most of us predicted. Like they weren't going to stay number one seed. Absolutely not. That hodgepodge of guys they got there. The favorite word considering the Jazz is hodgepodge. But yeah, I think this is the one that just came out of absolute left field.
Yeah.
My man's averaging 25 points and almost 9 rebounds a game.
On Durant-like efficiency, 52, 43, 87.
This is unfortunately what the Bulls organization wanted to see at his time there. And a move to a different organization. He was okay in Cleveland, but he comes over here and he's an absolute stud.
Yeah.
Absolute all-star. With the numbers like these, and I mean, you've made the Jazz with a couple other guys that are really good, but he's made the Jazz a contender, a real team to make the playoffs. So yeah, he's a lock for me too. Yeah, so those are like the 3 biggest locks in my mind.
Yeah, and I remember at the beginning of the year, people were saying, will they give the All-Star to Jordan Clarkson or will they give it to Lauri Markkanen? Because at the time, they were both playing pretty well, and the Jazz were like a 1 seed. And Lauri Markkanen has just stayed steady all year long. The average has dipped a little bit, but
that's
still putting up 25 on great efficiency.
Okay, and on another note, our 4th and final lock.
Like another note, Jazz, take note.
Yeah, take note. But yeah,
this is what you come to the debate base for.
All right. So all right. Well, shall we move on to the next player, Matthew?
Yes.
The 4th and final lock in our eyes.
Yep.
This team, we're very happy to see them doing as well as they're doing. This is, I believe, they're the offensive leaders in many categories. I believe most points per game in the entire league, and it's all thanks to one of their star players right now, Domantas Sabonis.
Light the beam.
Light the beam. Yeah, show it off. Light the beam, boys. Light the beam.
Light that
beam.
Even
though that shirt makes it hard to see the beam. You know what it says.
You know what it says.
We don't have to just
light the beam.
You awesome individuals. We don't have to explain anything to you. I mean, when the front court came to mind, outside of like Markkanen and another guy we will discuss that I have, Sabonis was pretty easy. He's averaging 18 and a half and about 12 and a half reads right now. His team is a 3 seed. They look just an absolute offensive juggernaut. And like you like to say, they've kind of come into an identity. They found an identity. Yep. They know what works for them, and it's starting. The pieces are starting to come together. Kevin Huerter's been exceptional. I really like seeing him play.
Put that man in the 3-point shootout.
Exactly,
please.
He deserves to be there. And I remember when he was traded, we were like, interesting trade because they got him and Malik Monk. And you know what? It's paid dividends. And Sabonis is one of the main reasons why this is working so well. Everyone kind of questioned the trade, but he's showing that this is a good spot for him, and this is a place where he shines. So I really like this for Sabonis. Deserves to be in that front court. I will be shocked if his name is not called on Thursday night.
To start, in my opinion.
Ooh.
Zion is not over 30 games yet, so he hasn't played in like 60% of his team's games. At that point, come on now. Sabonis has played 46.
Yeah, but this is the only reason this is fan voting, and Zion is an explosive and just fun player for everyone to watch. Heck, if Curry and Doncic were up there, Morant probably would have made a starter.
Yeah. I mean, when Zion's healthy, he's a starter.
He's an absolute beast of a man.
But for this season,
he gets help when he's healthy. Key words.
So I'm going to go over to, I think, a guy we share in the front court. Although we don't think he's a lock, he's someone we both think will make it. And that's Paul George. Paul George, as much as you don't want to put him in the All-Star game because no one really likes Paul George,
Hey, man, I'm indifferent about Paul
you
George.
can't deny the numbers. 24, 6, and 5. We were talking about this before we were recording. 5 assists is impressive for Paul George.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, the 23 and then the 6 and basically 5.
And he's giving you a steal and a half. Incredibly efficient this year. 36 46 from the field, near 40 from 3. He's always going to be up there towards the 90s in free throw percentage.
I mean, the Clippers are a good team, a top 4 team in the West right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, as much as you want to hate on him, he deserves to be in here right now. He has missed a couple games more, but I don't think that matters. He's played enough to me where these stats seem valid and where he deserves. He deserves.
I mean, he's played more than Zion.
That's true, and Zion is a starter.
He's played the same amount of games as Joel Embiid.
That's true. About what, 36?
36, yeah. About 36, but you'll see and for coaches, like I said, they're the ones that vote on this. They'll look down the list of Western Conference teams. They'll see the Clippers and they'll say the Clippers are good. Kawhi's missed a couple games.
Well, like
Paul George.
Yeah, well, like I was telling you, these NBA coaches will go off names.
Yep.
Whether they deserve it or not, names do
Players
matter.
That have been there and done that.
So, like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Kawhi Leonard gets in there. If Kawhi Leonard makes it, it's like, oh, it's Kawhi Leonard. He's got to be in there.
Right.
No matter, unless they play so abysmal or just have 0 games, there are some people that names will get in, which is another reason why I think Paul George will get in.
Yep.
Merit alone.
But you had him as a wild card, so you had someone a little bit more deserving ahead of him, who I don't have. So I want to hear your defense for him.
Anthony Davis?
Yes.
I mean, the stats, I mean, he's missed some time, yes. And I guess he's missing some more time. It's not good he's back on the injury list.
Yeah,
so he may, but he may, again, it's a name, and the stats that he does have are pretty exceptional, even though his team is doggy do this year, which is low key. I thought them
should have beat your Celtics though.
They should. What a controversial game.
What a controversial call. More like a wrong call.
I don't know what the refs were doing. They must have been on their iPhones or something. But
they had money on the Celtics,
or were paid off by the Celtics organization.
I do stay.
No affiliation. I didn't have anything to do with that.
Wink, wink.
Historic rivalry. I promise I didn't have anything to do with them winning. But yeah, his name and then his stats. I mean, 26, 27, and 12. There have been moments. Yes, the consistency is a little bit of an issue, but when he's been on this season, he's been on an absolute tear.
Definitely.
And like I don't know, when I was thinking big men, it was him and Sabonis and Markkanen. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know, man. Anthony Davis is a special talent when he can stay healthy and when he's not tripping midair and hurting himself. Goodness gracious.
When he's not getting hit by the wind.
Possible AD.
I'm going to throw a couple names out there that I have above him who I don't have as all-stars because I'm going to give a little spoiler. My wild cards are both guards. Anthony Davis, the reason I don't have him on here is he's only played 27 games, and I have trouble rewarding.
And yes, that was a concern of mine. I was considering games played.
He's played 54% of his team's games.
But again, it's not a matter of do I think he deserves. It's a matter of the coaches are going to go with Anthony Davis.
But you don't have Devin Booker.
No, yeah, I was considering not putting him or Paul George, but I decided against it that Paul George is going to get it over.
I'm going to say Devin Booker is more likely to make it than Anthony Davis.
Do you think so?
I think so. If it comes down to those two as the last wild card, because Lillard is someone we both have as a wild card, he's a lock.
Yeah, Lillard should be a lock.
Last wild card, I think you give it to Booker over Anthony Davis because obviously Booker can't be put in over Gilgeous-Alexander or Morant.
No, of course not. Those are locks.
And I don't think he gets in over
most
Lillard.
Of their games.
So it's going to come down to, I think, Devin Booker, Anthony Davis, one or the other.
Here's the problem with it's Anthony Davis, Paul George, and Devin Booker. Right now, are going to be all interchangeable. They all have it.
And Jaren Jackson Jr. A lot of the lists I looked at when I was making this list.
There's a couple of guys where we're just it's going to be a roll of the dice. Like who we have our opinions on who we think deserves to make it. But who's going to actually make it? I don't know. They're kind of that's why I was having trouble towards the additional part of my list. It's like Paul George, but Devin Booker's had solid games.
And you're going to see some coaches I think that throw Aaron Gordon a couple of bones. I mean, numbers don't jump off the page. 17, 7, and 3. 58% shooting is impressive, and 39 is impressive too. But people look at the Nuggets; they're the 1 seed. It's basically tradition for the 1 seed to get to get 2 All-Stars.
Mm-hmm.
But the front court in the West is tough enough that I don't think he'll get in. But I think he could steal a few votes away from an Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. And that Nuggets team
And he's played
is really good
he's
this
played
year.
every game this season. Now, some coaches
He's
might
been an
want to
Iron
reward
Man
that.
this season. You're correct. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, this is the hard part. It's like these guys. It's like if we get to Thursday and AD makes it, or he doesn't, and then Paul George and Devin Booker make it, I'm not going to be surprised. It's not going to be like, oh. But
Yeah.
I just something in my gut told me that AD is going to sneak in and get a spot on the reserves. So yeah, that's my argument. I mean, I'm sorry.
So as for my last wild card, like I said, we both share Damian Lillard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call an audible right quick.
Audible on camera.
I had De'Aaron Fox listed, but
he was one that I had listed and then took him off because it was like, will they give Fox?
Oh my goodness, maybe I need to give it to De'Aaron Fox because according to my notes, the Kings are 27-1. but the Timberwolves are the 5 seed right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is crazy.
I gotta give it to Anthony Edwards.
Ooh,
I didn't think he was gonna make it. He didn't play well to start the season, but since Cat's gone down, since he's been able to find his role on the team as the number 1A, the number 1B, and the number 2 guy on that team, basically given the role to do whatever he kind of pleases.
That's what he was drafted to do, right?
He's been putting up incredible numbers. The efficiency is there. 46, 38, 77, 25 points per game. He's going to be a 30-point per game scorer at some point in his career, for sure. And he's also played every game this season. So I got to reward him.
He was one I wanted to put in.
But I got to throw him over De'Aaron Fox.
That's fair. See, De'Aaron Fox is one of those. I'd be so happy if De'Aaron Fox makes it in. But are the coaches going to give him that nod? I mean, like we're giving Sabonis the nod for sure, but are you going to give De'Aaron Fox? It's one of those things.
Yeah, because you see the Kings and you're like, Kings, I'll give them one All-Star at best. Even if they're good,
they're lucky they're getting that. Yeah, even though they're the 3 seed. Yeah, I don't know. It's just. See, if I had it my way and we're coming at this list from 2 different perspectives, folks. If I had the way I want, Paul George wouldn't be in here and Edwards would be here. De'Aaron Fox would be in here, but I just don't see it happening for De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, and you got to go by the rules of the draft or the.
And it's up to these coaches or the assistant coaches, as you so eloquently put it.
So just to review before we go on to our Eastern All Stars, we agree that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and John Morant will be representing in the backcourt with Damian Lillard coming in there as well as a wild card player. We agree that Domantas Sabonis, Larry Markkinen, and Paul George will be in there too. The only place we differ, he has Anthony Davis. I originally had De'Aaron Fox, but ultimately went with Anthony Edwards. On to the East, a little bit more disagreement.
Yeah, there's a little bit more decisive, but again, 2 different perspectives. I'm going a little more who I think is, and then you're going who you more want deserves to be in there, which is But yeah, I don't know. I'm bringing the realism to the channel, folks. I mean, like I'm just that kind of guy. You know what I'm saying?
And to stick with that realm of realism, let's go with the 2 super
duper locks. How about the leading scorer in the entirety of the NBA, Joel Embiid of the 76ers? I mean, they're the 2nd seed right now. They're closing in on my Celtics. This team is a good team. We'll see what happens playoff time. I'm sorry, man. It's just that's when it good regular season team. Playoffs come, it's going to be a whole another thing. But the man's is averaging 34 points and 10 rebounds right now with 4 assists as a center. My man is making a case. He's inched a little closer to Jokic. Jokic's still up there at number 1.
Yeah,
but he's been in that conversation with him for how many years now? And he's slowly inching up there. I mean, 34 points and 10 rebounds is absolutely insane.
And he's not a starter. Them in their game on Sunday.
That just shows you. That just shows you that Eastern front court, those 4, that's stacked right there.
Yep.
And so just not enough spots, unfortunately. KD and Giannis weren't going to. So that's why I thought Embiid was going to get the nod over Tatum. But, hey, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go any further on Embiid. We all know who Embiid is.
Embiid is a monster.
The fact that we're even talking about him right now on this episode about reserves is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane that he's on the – I definitely didn't think with 34 points he'd be sitting on the reserve bench.
So on to another guy that probably deserved to start, maybe over Kyrie Irving, is Jaylen Brown. Both of us have him as a super lock. 27, 7, and 3. He's almost up to 50% from the field. He's taken another step, I think. Carried the Celtics in OT in their last game against the Lakers, a game that should not have gone to OT, but it is what it is.
Hey, it is. The game's over, man. It is what it is.
And like we talked about earlier, if you're a 1 seed, you typically get 2, and the Celtics are the 1 seed in the league, so they're going to get 2. And Jaylen Brown is more than deserving to be that second All-Star.
I mean, they've gotten him when the team wasn't as good and the team wasn't the number 1 seed.
Right.
So I think he was averaging I believe, a little bit less. I don't know how much set point wise, but like difference wise, he's an absolute stud. He's inching closer to Jason Tatum. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Jason
agree.
Tatum is a generational talent. Don't get me wrong, best player on the Celtics, but it's not as close as you would think. I mean, it's all right. It's more close than you would think. I mean, these two. I mean, I would argue Brown's top three most athletic players in the league, and one of the best finishers around the rim. So
Yeah, great driver.
Jaylen Brown, and tries so hard and is pretty darn good at defense. So anyway, yeah, it's happy to see my boys get represented on here. Yeah, those were pretty much locks. Now there's some disagreement
Yep.
and who we think. Well, I think we do have another person we agree is going to make it. He's in my additional, but you have him in your front court.
And that would be Bam Adebayo.
Bam Adebayo, yeah.
Another guy that the coaches are going to put down. He's been there. He's done that. This is his best season yet by far. 21, 10 and 3.
Yeah.
Um,
Heater inching closer.
Incredible efficiency. 44 games played, and a team that's had a lot of turmoil as far as players missing games. He's kept them relevant. He's carried them in games like we used to see Jimmy Butler do when he could stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Adebayo has just reached another level, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and he's definitely going to be representing the Heat in the All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he automatically came to mind. I mean, he's been a stud this season.
And defensively, he's on another level.
Defensively, he's on another level. No matter what you have to say about him with this Heat's team, and they're getting closer. They're at the 6th seed now.
Yep.
Definitely, they started off pretty rocky, and now they're starting to kind of get their groove on. So yeah, so those were the locks for us for sure. I think I have him as a little more on the edge though, because I was like, Pascal though. Pascal.
I found a way to get them both in there.
Yeah, we'll tell you. You have Pascal. Argue for why you think Pascal gets it.
All right. Argue. So I'm not used to having to argue for why Pascal gets it, because normally I'm making you argue for Anthony Davis.
That's true. No, you argue for Pascal. I'm not mad at it because I was genuinely considering it, but he just missed.
All right, picture this. The player's name is LeBron James.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's averaging 25, 8 and 7 on 48, 32, 77 on a 22 and 27 team. Is he a lock? Is he starting?
No.
Yes, he is. No. LeBron James.
Oh, LeBron James. I thought you were reading Pascal's stats.
I am reading Pascal's stats, but I'm saying if that's LeBron James with those numbers, heck, if that's
LeBron is starting absolutely because again, name.
Heck, if that's Paul George.
Well, he's LeBron James.
If that's Paul George with those numbers, he's getting into the All-Star game. No question about it.
No, you're 100% right, but it's just
so that's why I think we got to give the same love to Pascal Siakam. The Raptors are not very good this year, but he's really good at defense still. He's offensively a unit unto himself. Mm-hmm. He's gotten that mid-range a whole lot better. He's added a little bit more Durant style to his game. He can get to that midi. He can get the fade. He can still get to the paint with the best of them. The spin move is not the only move anymore. He's more than a one-trick pony now. And so I think, although maybe you do say I don't want to reward a team that's that bad, because the Raptors are kind of tough to watch right now. Mm-hmm. I love the Raptors, and I have a hard time tuning into them on League Pass just because they're kind of playing an unwatchable brand of basketball. Yeah. But when you do watch them, when you do take a minute to torture yourself, you watch Siakam and you say the dude's nice. Like, he's an all-star.
We've been known Siakam nice. It's since freaking championship, we've known he's nice.
Yeah.
And I agree. But again, it's one of those. It's just he's a person that they can look at and go, we don't have to put him in there.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
He's averaging great numbers, but we don't have to put him in there. I don't know. Do I think he deserves to be in there? Absolutely. Just like I believe, let's talk about Tyrese for a little bit.
Okay.
I don't think he's necessarily a lock, only because I've seen in the past first time possible for Shai's. The difference between him and Shai is Shai's numbers.
And Shai didn't get injured.
Yeah, and Shai didn't get injured. So that unto itself he has to.
And I'm going to be outraged. I'm going to defend you real quick. He's saying this from the point of view of the coaches. Nathan thinks Tyrese Haliburton is an all-star.
Yeah, I think Tyrese should be a lock for that reserve spot. I even argue I would have. Over Kyrie. Kyrie was kind of a bit of a shot at me, but I get it.
Yeah.
Again, from a realistic standpoint, but I would have liked to have seen Tyrese or Jaylen Brown make that second spot next to Mitchell.
They're 2-10 without Haliburton, and he's played in more games than you think. You feel like he's missed a lot of games. He's still played in 40. He's putting up 20. He's leading the league in assists.
He's special, and he deserves 40, to be on here.
88 efficiency.
Again, yeah, he deserves to be on here. We all want him because we all love him.
And no one expected the Pacers to be what they are this season.
They've kind of regressed a little bit, but I think they'll get back before the end of the season. I think they'll be surprisingly at least in a playing game,
Yeah,
which is shocking
which
to
is
me because I
crazy.
think I had them as the 15th seed in the East. All the problems and people
And
they
I don't think
lost,
you
and
were alone in that.
yeah, no, they were the one team. It was kind of like, oh, yeah, they're not going to be very good. They're surprising me. Benedict Matherin's also a big part in that.
Yeah.
Played it should not have come out this hard, but he does. But yeah, I think Tyrese should be there, but I don't have him on my list, unfortunately.
So who do you have replacing him in that backcourt then?
In that backcourt, I have James Harden, and again, it's not a deserved thing. He's having, I mean, a solid season. I mean, 21 points and 11 assists is not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all.
Down bad for Harden numbers, but he's getting older, and again, it's name thing. So there's a couple on mine. I'm sorry, it's a little boring, but it's names. James Harden, I mean, is a special guy, even though he's more injury prone now and he's kind of regressing before eyes. He's 30 freaking 3, right? Something along those lines. But name alone will get him in there.
I also think it's less of that he's regressing and more of he's understood that I'm in a stage of my career now where winning is more important than 45-point triple doubles, and he's learned that he has to defer to Embiid. I think he still has the same ability he always has had, but he's smarter about it now.
That's true. I mean, so kind of evolving. I think there is some regression there.
Well, yeah.
But I think there's point to that too. Is that but then again, yeah, I don't want Harden to make it. He's not the biggest Harden guy, and I don't think he deserves it over someone like a Tyrese. But I think he will end up making
him. And Drew Holiday were two I wrestled with a lot.
See, I'd like to see Drew Holiday.
I didn't have Holiday.
He definitely will not. They will not throw a bone to Holiday. These coaches will not. But hey, you know what? Coaches Thursday night pleasantly surprised me. Get me on my list completely wrong.
Casuals.
Yeah, make Matthews make your list identical to Matthews' list. You know what? Yeah, prove me wrong. But after years and years of being a fan and watching this, you probably won't. No.
Yeah. so far I've got Brown, Halliburton, Embiid, Adebayo, and Brunson. Or not. Oops. Pascal Siakam. I guess I'll say Brunson now. I guess I'll go about Brunson. So that was a little bit of a slip up there, a little bit of a spoiler.
It happens.
We're talking about a guy that's top 3 in clutch scoring and has turned the Knicks from a sub 500 team that looked like they were about to fall off the face of the earth once again after they'd finally made themselves relevant and had a playoff series in the Garden against the Hawks, to a team that once again might host a playoff series or will definitely be playing in a playoff series in MSG again.
Another nice little surprise given the start of the season. It was looking a little worse for wear over there.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see them kind of getting into their thing because that's a talented team, regardless of how you feel.
You know, I'm gonna get angry here. I'm ashamed of the Knicks fans. This is the first real point guard they've had in how many years? A decade plus. Yeah. Knicks fans, how was he not maybe not starting, but how was he not top 3 every single time in the fan?
We're talking about one of the media.
Are you guys voting for Kyrie because he plays in
media capitals of the world, one of the biggest cities in the U.S.
Like, who were the Knicks fans voting for? Because they vote. They live in New York. They watch the Knicks. They vote it. Jalen Brunson should have been killing the game as far as all-star voting goes. But to see him not even be in that top 10 was disgraceful if you're a Knicks fan. But like I said, top 3 in clutch scoring. He's turned this team around. He's made it so that another guy I have on my list, spoiler, Julius Randle can bounce back and have an all-star type season because the defense can't focus primarily or solely on Julius Randle. They're both, I think, equally gifted offensively. And that allows them to perfectly balance out, perfectly both play their game. One of the better 1-2 punches in basketball right now. So I have both of them on here, 2 Knicks representing. And I'm curious to see your reasoning for not having them and the players you have ahead of them.
It's like don't get me wrong. Another person I considered was Julius Randle. I'm not out of this realm. I put personally who I put in over him was DeMar, and that's just
I have him on my just missed list.
Yeah, DeMar is right there. He's the best thing about this Bulls team, no question. They're back. They're at the 10 seed right now. Maybe that stays the same. I don't know. This team has dealt with a lot of adversity this season. Zach LaVine, questionable for the future of this organization. Maybe he leaves. I don't know. But DeMar's been consistent ever since he got here. 26 points, 5 and 5.
Yep.
Yeah, he's led this team, in my opinion. Yeah, he's the reason they're at least the dang 10 seed. And and yeah, we show when he gets back in the East, we've shown DeMar love so far. So I think the coaches like DeMar. He's a well-liked guy, So I think, and he's been putting up outstanding numbers on this crappy Bulls team. So you know what? I'd like to see Julius Randle get it because he's a young guy. Maybe they will take him over DeMar. That's very plausible because he deserves it too. He's having stellar numbers again, like when he got his first All-Star.
Yep.
I'd argue I think it's a little bit better. Maybe not in I think he was like averaging 12 rebounds. He's averaging more points. And yeah, this Knicks team is doing some damage, and I like the outlook of this team. But yeah, sorry, I had to give DeMar the nod.
That's
You had
fair.
him just missed, but yeah, you were considering him too. He's just missed because yeah, he's DeMar DeRozan. And then what? Who else do I also have? Jimmy Butler.
Fair again.
And he's been a crucial part in that, of course, with Bam Adebayo. Those are your guys to getting this team back into a top 8 position where I thought they were. Definitely thought they'd be higher at this point, but they're starting to inch and kind of find their identity. Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler. He's averaging 22, 6, and 5 right now. Those are good enough numbers to get him in.
I was watching a game while I was doing this. I was watching the Heat Magic game late one night, working on my All-Star reserves, and Jimmy Butler made a super clutch move. Just a incredible layup against the Magic to like ice the game. And I watched that and I was like, dude is an all-star. But I just couldn't put him in there. And that's I completely understand where you're coming from. I completely see why you put him on there for the reason I just named. You look at the stats and then you watch him play and watch him take over. I mean, the dude has put himself in the conversation for being a top 10 player in the league before. You watch him play, you look at the numbers and you say the dude is an all-star.
Yeah, I mean, we were considering him as a top 10 player.
You look at those biceps and you say, dude, it's an all-star.
I'm so sad he changed the hair.
Oh yeah, the dreads were fired.
the dreads were fantastic. 2K or ESPN didn't think so, or whoever that was, Bleacher Report, who replaced his photo with a 2K photo.
Yeah,
just absolutely hated it. But we love Dreddy Butler.
Yeah,
that's we loved him. But yeah, I mean, like he was, like you said, he's in conversation not too long ago for a top 10 player. Like what do we think he's just fallen off? He's never had the most incredible stats, but his impact on the game on both sides of the court is up there with the top 10.
Measured.
Yeah, can't be truly measured. He's one of those guys that statistically it doesn't jump at you, but when you watch him play, it tells you all you need to know. Yep. So yeah, I do think Jimmy and DeMar make it in there. Do we have who?
You have one more.
I have one more that you not the biggest fan of either.
I might plug my ears when you say this guy's name.
And it's Trae Young. He's averaging 27 points and 10 assists right now, Matthew. And we know this organization loves Trae Young.
I didn't even bother to look at his stats because I know I didn't have him in there and I had other guys ahead of him.
But
I can't imagine how bad his efficiency is. I know it's bad, but I'm feeling it's going to be worse than I thought. He's one of the worst three-point shooters in the league on volume this year.
I want to say I looked it up earlier. I want to say it was something crazy like 146th or something like that.
Yeah, he's one of the worst.
It might be a little less
on his volume right now.
Yeah, but he's also Trae Young, another guy that's going to get a lot of love.
DeJounte Murray's had more All-Star moments this year. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. But, like, once you saw his name on my list, I think deep down inside of you knew I was right, and he's going to get in there.
I don't think so.
I think he does.
I don't think people like Trae Young. Did you see this? This was shocking to me. Trae Young, I want to say I'm 100% sure, 99.9% sure, out of the Eastern Conference backcourt. So, for those of you that don't know, after the All-Star starters are released, the NBA releases the whole chart. Like, you can see every single player, down to even, like, Chet Holmgren, who received votes, who the players voted for, who the fans voted for, who the media voted for, and what their rank is. Out of the Eastern Conference frontcourt, this is the Eastern Conference frontcourt, meaning there are only 30 guards, starting guards to choose from. Yeah, backcourt, excuse me. There are only 30 players to choose from if you're going off of starters for the Eastern Conference All-Stars. I don't remember if it was 12th or 14th, but Trae Young was 12th or 14th out of the players. And I think a lot of the players, what they say is a big reflection of what the coaches think too, because they're the ones in the locker room game planning, looking at players, watching film. And if they're hearing bad things about Trae Young, they're looking at him and they're thinking, dude, this dude is an a-hole, which seemingly is what the players are thinking because he's not the 14th best guard in the Eastern Conference. He's good. But if the players are thinking that the players have that much disdain for him that they're going to throw him 14th, that means some of his players didn't even vote for him.
Oh, we know
13 total votes.
Yeah, we know he's not like the most loved guy.
Yeah, so I'm thinking,
but stats-wise, his team is the 8th seed.
Right, but I'm going against your logic of, well, he's going to get in because he's Trae Young. Because if the players,
well, I do think, despite all of that, even though that's a valid good point, he still sneaks his way in there. There's a reason he's an additional, Matthew. I didn't have him as an absolute lock, but again, gut feeling tells me somehow he's going to weasel his way in.
Players are a reflection of their coaches.
Also, didn't bother to look, huh? Man, look to see if he was 14th in voting amongst his peers.
What are you saying?
No, he's like, I didn't even bother to look.
That is efficiency. But I was listening to a different podcast, and they're like, this dude got like 13 votes. That means some of his teammates didn't even vote for him. So I was like, what? There's no way. So I confirmed it. And I was like, that is actually crazy. Because I do think that's a reflection of the coaches. And if the players are saying there's so much crap coming out
I
of
think
Atlanta,
my
the players,
reasoning
the coaches will say
for
the same
putting him in
thing.
an additional is one of the reasons it's going to be where the one example on my list where even though they don't want to, they're going to look at because he has superb stats, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think the stats are going to force them to put it
But
in
I
there.
think coaches will look at that. Let's say it comes down to like a him versus a
Or like
let's say it comes down to him versus Brunson, him versus
Mhm.
Drew Holiday. I think coaches have grown tired of Trae Young and his antics. I think they'll look at him, they'll say, he had his moment. They were the 4 seed or whatever. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But since then, he's been an incredible locker room cancer. He doesn't make his teammates much better. He's wildly inefficient, and he doesn't defend. That's what the coaches are going to say, and the coaches are going to be 100% right about all those things. They notice those.
they're
things.
100% correct.
And that I think they don't like Trae. I would not be surprised. Are you ready for this? I would not be surprised if Brunson, Harden, Holiday, and Darius Garland, and maybe even DeJounte Murray get more votes than Trae Young out of the coaches. I think coaches are done with Trae Young. Honestly,
that's a fair point, and that's all plausible. Good arguments you made. I don't know. I think he finds a way. I'm sorry. It's not that like I want him, but it's like again, he's an additional. He was one that I was like, teeter tottering.
I appreciate that you can at least see where I'm coming
from.
No,
I
understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's gonna be like the coaches are gonna be like, oh, we don't like the guy, but I mean, 27-10,
right?
Maybe we have to put him in there, or maybe I don't know. He's not a likable guy. You're 100% correct.
But they also might look at him and say, screw this guy. He doesn't defend. He's really inefficient. Drew Holiday's an old guy. He might not make another one. Let's let him get the recognition he deserves real quick. Let's let Harden.
Be awesome.
Let's let Garland get the recognition. Like, I don't know. I just have a hard time thinking the coaches will put him in there. But like you said, it's completely possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, coaches have done head scratching things before.
Yeah.
And voted some people in that were like, oh, who got left out? Oh,
So before we call this episode quits, I have one quick question for you, Nathan. Who is one player? I'm not saying you think he's going to make it, but one player that you think could come out of left field and potentially make it. So it could be someone we mentioned, but we had low on our list, someone we didn't mention. Who is someone you think the coaches could throw in there to take us all by surprise?
Oh, that's tough.
You don't need to do one per conference. It could be East or West.
I'm
not saying like I don't want you to tell me
I need
Max Strus. Like I want like give me a player that's actually good, that's actually pretty good, but you haven't been heard in the All-Star conversations.
See, that's tough because like if it'd be different because I'm also thinking about these coaches.
Right.
If it was fans, I think maybe Paolo would come out of left field somehow because he was like 6th in voting or something for front court. Oh my goodness.
I'm thinking a guy like Jared Allen could sneak in there, maybe.
Fair
if the Cavs
enough.
want to give the because he's a former All-Star, made it last year. If the Cavs if the coaches want to give the Cavs,
you caught me off guard with this because it's like, there's a couple players like. I'm sorry, I'm blanking right now. See, there's a couple guys that are on there, but like I haven't seen. There's some guys I haven't looked at their stats. Like I guarantee, like Freddie VanVleet doesn't have the best stats. Like right at this current moment, given that what his team is looking like. I don't know. Maybe that's tough because it's like coaches like maybe
maybe a Kuzma.
Maybe a Zach LaVine.
That could happen.
That's the first. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. Is Zach LaVine? I could see that possibly happening. Maybe even over his teammate DeMar, which would be a crime if that happened. But you never know.
All right, so I don't know if you heard it here first, but you heard it here. Our All-Star picks, our All-Star reserve picks.
Everything we've said, both sides from both different viewpoints, is incredibly plausible.
I agree. Yeah, I think this was some high level content.
This is high level content. Not much controversy. Not much controversial pick. It's not like I threw freaking Nick Claxton in there.
I like Nick Claxton though.
I know.
I'm a big Nick Claxton
but
guy.
you're. I mean,
don't talk bad about him anymore.
No, but hear me out. Playoffs will come and he'll do something stupid or play a bad series, and you'll be back on the Nick Claxton hate train.
I'll text you and be like, "He's 0 for 12 from the free throw line."
Nick Claxton, what are you doing, Nick Claxton? Like, I'm gonna hear that and be like, "Oh God."
Well, we'll see if that happens. But if it does happen, we'll be here to talk about it.
Exactly. If Nick Claxton bombs in the playoffs, you'll hear it here first.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see how our All-Star predictions pan out. We'll see you next time on the Debate Mates.
Bye, guys.